You had breakfast, you had coffee, and your gut still feels slow, heavy, bloated, off. Bowel movements that should be simple become unpredictable. Before you reach for another supplement or cleanse, there's one food that humans have turned to for thousands of years. Ground flaxseed. When it meets water in your digestive tract, its soluble fiber, insoluble fiber, and a substance called mucilage may quietly reshape how your gut moves, feels, and functions each morning, but only if you prepare it correctly. Imagine starting your day with a carefully planned breakfast only to find yourself sitting at your desk an hour later feeling sluggish and physically heavy. The morning coffee was supposed to trigger a natural, comfortable rhythm, yet your system refuses to cooperate. This unpredictable digestive cycle is a quiet, daily frustration for millions of adults, sparking a constant search for relief. It is why so many turn to elaborate powders, expensive specialty supplements, and aggressive gut cleanses that promise a quick reset. But instead of chasing complex protocols, a simple morning habit using ground flaxseed offers a gentle, evidence-aware way to support your gut's natural pace. When ground flaxseed meets fluid inside the digestive tract, a physical transformation begins. This process relies on three distinct elements working together: soluble fiber, insoluble fiber, and a natural plant material known as mucilage. As these components absorb moisture, they hydrate and swell, forming a soft, slippery gel. This gel helps ease sluggish digestion, supporting daily regularity and improving stool consistency for greater overall comfort. In this narrative, healing is defined as supporting normal function and a stable microbial habitat, rather than treating medical conditions like inflammatory bowel disease, blockages, or permanent tissue damage. It is a simple way of assisting the body's natural processes to help maintain a predictable digestive rhythm and cultivate a more favorable internal environment. Long before modern science examined these internal mechanisms, the plant behind them, Linum usitatissimum, was already woven into the fabric of human survival. This relationship began over 9,000 years ago in the Fertile Crescent, where early agriculturalists first cultivated wild flax. Archaeologists have tracked its spread through Neolithic remains in Greece and waterlogged sites across the Mediterranean. In Egypt, early farming communities in the Fayum Depression grew the plant for two distinct purposes. Old Kingdom tomb paintings illustrate scenes of sowing, pulling, and threshing, showing that harvesting was a careful choice. Pulling the green stalks early yielded fine fibers for linen, but leaving the plants to reach full ripeness allowed the seeds to mature for food. Over generations, recovered seeds grew noticeably larger, a physical change suggesting domestication. While these ancient cultivators left no record of their exact motives, their fields established a crop that would feed and clothe civilizations for millennia. Written records offer glimpses of how ancient healers approached this plant, though these texts are limited witnesses rather than definitive proof of a modern remedy. The Egyptian Ebers papyrus, dating to around 1550 BC, prescribes applying flax stem material topically to soothe an inflamed abdomen, a practice distinct from consuming the seeds. Centuries later, the Greek physician Dioscorides described the seeds as softening and dissolutive when taken with water. Yet classical accounts remained grounded in practical observation. The Roman naturalist Pliny noted that eating the seeds caused a flatulent effect, while medieval texts, including those associated with Hildegard of Bingen, warned that an excess could be difficult to digest. These early observers documented physical effects without any concept of dietary fiber or the gut microbiome. For centuries, the human relationship with flax was recorded entirely by what could be seen and felt: a softening of texture, a swelling in water, and a smoother passage through the body. These early accounts relied on simple physical results, operating without any concept of dietary fiber or microscopic gut bacteria. Today, modern physiology translates those ancient observations into precise, measurable questions. Researchers no longer view the seed as simple, uniform roughage. Instead, contemporary analysis separates the distinct roles of soluble and insoluble fibers, treating the physical preparation of the seed as a testable variable that determines how it behaves inside the human system. This shift turns a traditional remedy into a study of biological mechanics. Inside the digestive tract, these mechanical components perform distinct physical tasks to keep things moving. Once the seed's outer layer breaks open, the mucilage immediately absorbs water, swelling into a thick, slippery gel. This gel works alongside soluble fiber, which acts like a microsponge, holding onto moisture so the digestive mixture remains soft and hydrated as it travels through the lower system. At the same time, the tough, insoluble cell wall material adds essential bulk to the stool, giving the digestive tract something substantial to grip and push. Together, this combination of moisture and volume shapes the overall consistency of the stool, directly influencing how easily it passes. This mechanical change provides support for transit, though it does not guarantee an immediate, automatic muscular response from the intestines. This physical transformation completely replaces the popular myth of a detox broom. Flaxseed does not perform a magical colon cleanse, nor does it physically scrape toxins from the intestinal walls. There are no harsh, abrasive actions taking place. Instead, the real benefit comes entirely from a change in texture and volume. By keeping the passing material hydrated and bulky, the seeds naturally ease the physical effort required for elimination, making the daily digestive cycle feel smoother and more predictable. While the physical fiber passes through, a quieter process unfolds further down the digestive tract. Some parts of the ground seed resist human enzymes entirely, arriving intact in the lower bowel. Here, the resident bacterial community takes over through fermentation, a simple biological process where microbes break down the leftover plant material that the human body cannot digest on its own. This bacterial breakdown produces valuable compounds called short-chain fatty acids, specifically acetate, propionate, and butyrate, which help feed the cells lining the colon wall. Small clinical observations suggest that this activity can alter the makeup of the gut, increasing certain helpful bacterial populations and raising the overall level of these supportive fecal metabolites. At the same time, specific microbes convert plant compounds in the seed, known as lignin SDG, into active forms like enterodiol and enterolactone, while the plant's natural omega-3 fatty acids offer a mild secondary layer of support. Instead of acting as a universal cure or magically repairing the intestinal barrier, this microbial activity supports a stable, well-nourished environment where normal digestive processes can occur naturally. When researchers moved these mechanical theories into human trials, the physical results became clear and measurable. Across multiple clinical studies, participants typically consume between 10 and 30 grams of ground flaxseed daily. In trials tracking adults with functional constipation, this simple daily addition helped increase weekly bowel movements from a sluggish average of just 2 up to a much more comfortable 7. Even at smaller amounts, the impact remained noticeable. In a study focused on individuals with type 2 diabetes, a modest 10-gram daily dose still produced a clear, though smaller, improvement in regularity. To measure these changes objectively, researchers turned to standardized tools like the Bristol Stool Form Scale to assess appearance and consistency. When compared head-to-head with lactulose, a common standard laxative, over several weeks, ground flaxseed performed broadly as well, helping transition stools to a softer, more manageable form with fewer digestive side effects. However, systematic reviews of this data reveal a modest average benefit rather than a magic cure. The actual results depend heavily on the daily dose, how the seed is prepared, individual health, and the overall quality of each study. It is also important to note that while the science strongly supports improvements in stool frequency and form, there is far less evidence that flaxseed reduces subjective symptoms like abdominal pain or bloating. Most of these clinical trials are relatively small, short, and run for only 4 to 12 weeks. They show that supporting your gut is a gradual process, requiring consistent daily use over several weeks rather than expecting a sudden change on day 1. Establishing this habit does not require a complex recipe or a strict schedule. It simply involves a consistent daily choice. When adding flaxseed to your morning routine, always select ground seeds instead of whole ones. Whole seeds have a tough outer hull that resists digestion, meaning they often pass through your system completely unchanged. Grinding breaks this protective shell, opening up access to the valuable soluble fiber, mucilage, plant-based omega-3s, and lignins inside. If you are new to this habit, start slowly. Begin with just 1 teaspoon or about 5 grams each day. This gives your digestive tract and your resident bacteria time to adjust to the sudden increase in fiber. If your system tolerates this initial amount well over several days, you can gradually increase the portion to 1 or 2 tablespoons, which is roughly 10 to 20 grams. Always accompany this serving with a generous amount of liquid, such as a full glass of water, to allow the fiber to hydrate and expand smoothly. You can easily stir the ground seeds into your morning oatmeal, yogurt, kefir, or a simple smoothie. You can eat it with or without other food, as an empty stomach is not required. Using it in the morning is simply a practical reminder to help you stay consistent, rather than a medically superior hour. Remember that flaxseed oil lacks the fiber and mucilage of the seed itself, so it cannot support regularity in the same way. Please subscribe to God's Natural Pharmacy for more evidence-based health insights. Introducing this new fiber too quickly can cause temporary bloating, gas, or an uncomfortable feeling of fullness as your gut microbes adapt. Slowly increasing your daily intake over several weeks allows your digestive system and your resident bacterial community to adapt comfortably. However, this natural seed is not a universal solution, and natural does not mean entirely risk-free. It is not recommended for managing diarrhea-predominant symptoms, and institutional safety guidelines from the European Medicines Agency emphasize clear boundaries. If you have swallowing difficulties, esophageal narrowing, or a history of intestinal blockages, you should avoid concentrated fiber entirely. Active inflammatory flares or severe bowel conditions also require personalized medical guidance rather than self-treatment. Because fiber can speed up digestive transit, it may interfere with medication absorption. To prevent this, space your flaxseed intake at least 1 to 2 hours apart from any oral prescriptions. Most importantly, certain symptoms require immediate professional evaluation. Persistent constipation, blood in the stool, unexplained weight loss, severe pain, or vomiting demand medical care, not a dietary fix. Embracing a measured, well-hydrated morning routine supports your body's natural processes without the need for extreme cleanses. Please subscribe to God's Natural Pharmacy for more evidence-based health insights. Today, our search for wellness often leads to complex, synthetic promises. Yet modern science continues to validate what ancient cultures practiced by instinct. Supporting your gut isn't about drastic cleanses, but the quiet consistency of simple daily habits. True balance is not a sudden miracle. It is a patient, everyday partnership with your body's natural design.